Hello, everyone. Sorry for being late. I actually went to the wrong channel, but I found people there, so that's also good. And yeah, so we can all meet here. Let's start with the prayers. I will just share them again. Yeah, we just do the refuge and the bodhicitta, and then each of us is at the same time or afterwards, please also is doing the 5 excellences. In the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. In the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. In the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. May all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be set free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the supreme happiness, which is without suffering. May they remain in the boundless equanimity, free from both attachment to close ones and rejection of others. May all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be set free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the supreme happiness, which is without suffering. May they remain in the boundless equanimity, free from both attachment to close ones and rejection of others. May all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be set free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the supreme happiness, which is without suffering. May they remain in the boundless equanimity, free from both attachment to close ones and rejection of others. Thank you. Please don't forget the 5 excellences also. Good. So in this session, I think the topics we should discuss are maybe first on the study question sheet that I was sending around, that mainly Effie prepared, and I only edited a few things just to check with everyone if everything is clear from that side, but I think it should be pretty clear because the whole first session today was on that. And then regarding the second session of Tulku today, maybe we start by briefly going through the names that Rinpoche mentioned in the beginning. Longchen Shedra, always in a group of 3 here and there. And then I think the 3 Dharma chakras and the 5 excellences were the main topics. I hope that sounds okay for you. And I don't exactly know how to pronounce her name. Our Italian friend, she sent me quite she sent me quite a complete video recording of today's first session, and Kitlan sent me also a quite complete audio recording. So together we have everything, I think nearly everything, just that you know, and we will send everything we have will be shared with all of you, of course. So, but at this point, thank you, Kitlan and Ekle, for that. And oh yeah, and just that you know, also Paula is from now onwards the backup recorder. So we just always have 2 people who do the exact Zoom recording. And so you all got the study questions, right? And with the answers that I think this is mainly the summary actually of Dotoku's first session today. When I just share them here. yeah, I think that is pretty clear. You know, the 12 deeds, you can read about them. You can even watch some, what is it, animated, not cartoons, but animated YouTube films on that. So that is pretty straightforward. Here in green is also the page number. I mean, Longchen Shedra is not really elaborating on it that much there. That is just the quote of Uttara Tantra Shastra. I think that is clear. Since I'm sharing, you know, I can't see all of your faces, so just unmute yourself if you want to say something to that topic. Or, and then the second point here. So these are the 4 ways of taming sentient beings. I added a little bit stuff sometimes here, like here with great merit, because that is part of the definition, even though it was not so much taught. But in the Tibetan definition by Jigme Lingpa, for example, this is part of it. And I think there's something else. Yeah, this is also what I added here, inconceivable activities, qualities. So that is Mikap, and that is something that is part of the definition. I mean, we talked about that yesterday already. The 12 deeds Buddha did with the body. Yes, that is clear. Then to tame sentient beings. I put here through always. In Tibetan, it's instrumental, and you can say by or through. So that's why I put it here. So then with the speech, what we have talked a lot about, and today with the 3 Dharma chakras, the 3 turnings of the wheel of Dharma, it is obvious, you know, that Buddha is teaching in various ways to tame different sentient beings according to their inclination or capacities and so on. And we will talk more about that when we talk about the 3 turnings of the wheel of Dharma. But that is definitely necessary to teach. You know, we cannot teach the same thing all the time. You know, to everyone. You know, that just doesn't work. Then and taming through the mind. Actually, to be able to really help others, like individually, you need to know, for example, their mind. You know, you need to know their thoughts. You need, you know, their previous lives and all of that. You need really to understand their capacities and their problems, you know, on a level that they don't understand. And then you can, and that knowledge, there actually, this clear perception is also something in Tibetan that is part of the definition. So with that clear perception, and there are 6 types, you really understand the person that you want to teach or tame. Tame is just the word, you know, that is used for that. That means somebody is wildly in samsara, you know, and you tame that person. And so you need to have that clear perception, you know, what exactly is the situation. And then, yeah, then you can perform Buddha's activities with your qualities, which we also find in the Uttara Tantra Shastra a lot. You know, there's a lot of explanation of that. I guess that is clear, right? Or is there anything, any objections or?
Maybe hand qualities.
What's that?
Activity and qualities.
Yes, that's what I wrote here.
Good example is, for instance, the first 14 days in the Tibetan year where Buddha was performing miracles.
Ich habe es nicht ganz, oh, I didn't understand it completely, but I think it's on the 4th point where Buddha performed miracles.
I said, ein gutes Beispiel.
Ein gutes Beispiel. Ein gutes Beispiel. Ja?
Shingi Wunder Buddha Shedra teaching.
I didn't understand the last part, but maybe I just give an example. When Buddha was, somebody, Devadatta, wanted to kill Buddha, you know, with a mad or crazy elephant, drunken elephant. And then Buddha just tamed the elephant by his compassion, you know, like that's it, you know, or Buddha was, yeah, also how he tamed Angulimala, you know, that is also something.
In the first 14 days of the Tibetan year, die ersten 14 Tage.
Ah, yeah.
Ja.
Yes, exactly. So we have Sakadawa, right, Wolfgang? That's what you mean. And so Buddha was performing one miracle every day, actually, this time. That's true. There's also a whole list. I can also prepare that if you want. Yeah, that's a good point. It's something that is really celebrated, and yeah, we know that also from other teachers like Guru Rinpoche or Milarepa. They did things, you know, that we call miracle. For them, it is totally normal, and they find it miraculous that we can't do it. That's how Milarepa was saying it. But yeah, it's another way to get through to people, you know, how if we put it here, you know, or maybe Turko, I forgot. And it's yeah, it's another way to inspire people, to convince them about something good. Yeah,
Agnem,
thank you.
may I ask you one thing? I'm sorry.
Yes, Paula.
Sorry again for asking if I can ask, by the way. These are the qualities of the Buddha. Okay, would this be also relative, like a progressive in teachings, in like bodhisattvas in the path? Qualities that the bodhisattvas, you know, the noble assembly gradually gain, for example. You know what I mean?
Yes, but yes, yes. There's, and these qualities, they are already leaking out a little bit, even in normal being like us. Sometimes, you know, there are some qualities leaking out through our obscurations when they break this, when there's a small breakthrough. But then, of course, I can't perform miracles, but that is already happening on the first bhumi. Then the bodhisattvas can do a lot of amazing stuff. Is that what you ask?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not only like after the 10th bhumi, then suddenly all the qualities are there, and then we have the abilities to perform miracles. But maybe explain more what you want to discuss.
No, it was just I was thinking about the ways that the teachers and the masters tame our minds and you get close to them. And I was thinking, okay, how would this work? You know, it was just that, yeah.
Yeah, I think really like the first thing, if I'm with a master in a room, then the first thing is he or she will know me, you know, the third taming, you know, like she or he will know my mind, my problems, my habits, whatever, you know, and then she or he will act with body, do stuff that is helping me to see the truth, or with speech, or with other activities. Yeah, but of course, as a Buddha, it's only like somebody. So that is if we apply it to normal teachers, you know. But of course, this is very specific to a Buddha here with the 12 deeds, because you know, a normal teacher, let's say like Dolpo Tulku. Tulku means Nimanakaya basically, but that's not the supreme Nimanakaya that is appearing as a Buddha in a time where there is no Buddhism, you know, and that supreme Nimanakaya that is appearing in a time where there is no Buddhism, and then starting Buddhism, basically, he or she is performing these 12 deeds. You got it? So Dolpo Tulku is not performing, I think, I don't know, of course, but it's not. So all the Tulkus or Rinpoches that we have, they don't perform these 12 deeds, because that is like exclusively for the Buddha of our Kalpa to do that. Paula, was it in any way still related to what you said or asked? I was really not sure.
Yeah, it was definitely the part before this was definitely, this was more like side thing, but anyways, useful. And yeah, definitely. And Arne, did you have the chance to talk to Rinpoche about the Satan thing?
Oh, no, not yet. But let's go. That is after this document. Then I thought we go into the teacher things, and then yeah, we can discuss on that.
Thank you.
But we have it on the video recording. That part is there, so we can also listen to it again. Okay, then yeah, then here this three ways of how these 12 deeds are understood. I think that is clear. Effie, I made it like in the way, you know, that first who is sort of, I mean, I mentioned always first who has that view. Yeah, I think that is pretty straightforward, and Tulku went through it.
May I ask a question on this point? If
see,
yes, since casually I'm reading a biographic account of the Buddha written by Taranatha, which is based on the sutras of the Lesser Vehicle. It happens that also in this yana, in Ayana, Buddha is seen as an accomplished, almost as a bodhisattva in his last life, when he descended from Tushita into his mother womb. So when we say here ordinary person, is not so ordinary person also in Hinayana. So maybe my idea before was that in Hinayana did not comprehend also the idea of a spiritual path from life to life. But as I see here, maybe I was wrong, because when I read this biography, I read of Buddha showing super strength, being super intelligent also in his young age. So maybe, I don't know, maybe Mahayana and Theravada are like, share the same view on the Buddha in his previous lives. The idea that he was already an highly realized being, also when he get birth as Buddha Shakyamuni, as the son of Shuddhodana.
Yes. Sorry. Is there
No. That's my question. Is
yeah.
He was already, also for Theravada, he was already an highly realized being, even if not a Buddha. When
I think so too, actually, between us here, even though it's recorded. Yes, I think so too. I just checked my note while you're speaking. And so when Rinpoche explained it, and that was what I wrote down, and I remember when I wrote it down, I was also surprised. He said that in the night when Prince Siddhartha was sitting under the Bodhi tree, from Theravada point of view, he was passing through path of accumulation, path of seeing, path of cultivation, and then reach enlightenment. I was really surprised that he said that. I really don't know so much, but I also thought, like you said, you know, like we have all the Jataka stories, you know, of Buddha's previous life, and he was already a great being, developed Bodhicitta a long time ago, you know, and was quite accomplished, and hence he was so skillful and everything, and so attractive in a good way, you know. It's not the normal sexiness, you know, but Also that I think, but I mean, depends on the eyes of the queens there, but that is definitely not the point here. But Rinpoche said, yeah, Rinpoche definitely said in the night, second, third, fourth path he crossed, you know, and that does actually now when I think about it, since you're asking it, I think we need to check that with Rinpoche, because usually you know, it's like it takes longer, you know, these paths. I forgot how in Abhidhamma Kosha, if we follow the Hinayana sort of view, I forgot how it is written, you know, how long each path takes. But I think like the third path is definitely just a moment, you know, that can happen, you know, while I look away, you look back to you, Antonio, you are maybe just entered the first bhumi, you know, like easily. But I think the second path and the fourth path, they take longer time. So therefore, yes, I from Theravada point of view alone, and that's why I agree with Antonio. It should be. I think he was already a bodhisattva also for them. So I don't know if anybody has a good insight in that. If not, that is really something we could ask. In a lot of Maya sutras, there are nice descriptions of light shows from Buddha. Yes. Yeah, I hope everybody got the point, you know, what Antonio's asking. I mean, definitely Hinayana or the Theravada people, they don't say he was a Buddha when he was born. Yes, that is Antonio and I, we agree on that, of course. And Turku didn't say anything else. But Turku definitely said ordinary being and being on the first path out of the 5 paths, basically. Yeah, it sounds contradictory to me a little bit. Yeah. Let's check. That's yeah. Yes, and then the same is of course here, and then in the second view, you know, like the view of the common Mahayana and some tantras or on that level, definitely he is a bodhisattva already. Yes, I would say the same. Yeah, he's not an ordinary being like me on his journey until Buddhahood in this life. And then in the third view, yes, he was already a Buddha eons ago on another planet, Rinpoche said. And anyway, Longchen is agreeing with that, you know, that he was already a Buddha, but then, yeah, he appeared differently and it was described differently by Buddha himself, yeah, in order to tame different beings, you know, that's all. Birger.
I was just wondering, maybe the point is the definition of ordinary being. And when we think in colloquial language, we say ordinary being, you know, that's me. And somebody who is a bodhisattva is something better, more advanced than me. But isn't it in this Dharma language where we say the ordinary being or sentient being or common being is everybody who is not yet a Buddha?
No, everybody who's not yet on the first bhumi.
Okay, thanks.
Because then one is called noble being or Arya, which Hitler was using the same title, you know. Yeah.
So the noble ones, the Aryas, are not a subgroup of common being.
Yes, not.
Okay, but would Aryas be still considered be sentient beings?
Yes.
Okay, now I got it. Thank you.
But Buddha is not a sentient being.
No, understood.
Therefore, we have not so much in common actually with Buddha. Okay, yeah, I think this we talked already about. So Longchenpa, I said that, and yeah, Buddha did all that, like with the 3 Dharma wheels, to tame different beings. I think that is clear. Okay, that I think was also talked a lot about today with Turku. And then, yes.
Sorry, Ernie, can I just ask a quick question?
Sure.
In the first view, I wrote down Hira Yana, and I wasn't 100% sure if that's what Rinpoche said.
Yes. Hira means like niente,
Yeah.
and
Like
that means hearing and listening. So this is the Shravaka Yana.
Okay, good, because I wasn't sure.
So, and then today, just if we start with the names, let's see what I wrote down. Yesterday, I already gave you a group of 2, right? Ronglong, Rongsom, and Longchenpa. And Rinpoche today mentioned, oh, I'm totally in the wrong day. Oh, still, sorry. I think so. Is there some here? So he talked about the 3 Manjushris, right? He started with that, and there he mentioned Sakya Pandita, Longchenpa, and Jitsongkhapa, right? So Longchenpa, I think we sort of have an understanding who he is. And then Tsongkhapa, I hope you also all know. He studied like with many Sakya masters, and he then founded the Gelug tradition basically. And he has a little bit different Madhyamika view than the others, but yeah, he's definitely a Jamgun, like a Manjushri emanation or reincarnation, like the others. And he wrote so many great texts, and he's also famous for the Lamrim teachings, like the gradual path that is practiced. And then Sakya Pandita is one of the main 5 Sakya masters, I would say, and so he lived also 12th century. And I was surprised that Turku mentioned said Sakya and Nyingma. So this I didn't understand, and Paula also was wondering about that, because usually he's really like the Sakya guy, like in the lineage and in the throne holders of the Sakyas. But maybe it took us a reason why he mentioned Nyingma, or maybe he was referring Nyingma to Longchenpa, but I don't know. But generally, Sakya Pandita is Sakya, Longchenpa is Nyingma, and Jitsongkhapa is Gelug. And then there's another group of 3, Bu, Dol, Long, Sum, Nida, Kasum. That's what he said. So so that was Nida Kasum, that is sun, star, and sun, moon, and star. And so there are these 3. This was Bhutan. I don't know if you know Bhutan. Then Dolpupa and Longchenpa, of course, again. And Bhutan was also a great master from the 13th century, 13th, 14th century. He I think is responsible for putting together the whole Kanjur that we know nowadays, that is in the process of being translated by 84,000 project. And Dolpopa, Rinpoche mentioned Dolpopa briefly from the area of Dolpo, where Rinpoche is coming from, of course. And he said he's the founder of Shentong. He's really like the hardcore Shentong, like this means he's really like saying that every sentient being, it doesn't matter who, even the tiniest insect or a human or God, it doesn't matter. All of them have the Buddha nature with all the Buddha qualities intact already now, nothing to be generated or cultivated or to be produced, but everything is perfectly there, even the physical marks, it just needs to be revealed. That is the point, like if you study Buddha nature teachings, then he's on that side, where you just reveal the Buddha nature, and then you have all the qualities totally intact already. Like you just remove the sky, you remove the clouds, and then you reveal the sky. That kind of logic. And Taranatha that Antonio mentioned, he's also in the same gang, like Jonang Shantong. Yeah, these are the three names there. What was it? Oh yeah, then the three Dharma chakras. Who wants to talk about that? And tell a little bit about the three. And I'm sure tomorrow Rinpoche will ask us to exactly quote what was written in the chat. What about Bilga?
Because I have a huge question about this, but
Okay.
because actually the way I see it and I understood it and I read it in the book also is there are two ways of describing the three turnings of the wheel, of the three wheels. And the one is the first, and that is how Rinpoche explained it and emphasized it. The first is about the four truths. The second is about emptiness. And the third is about great clarity. But then in the text, it also says the first is about Vinaya, the second is about Sutra, and the third is about Abhidharma. And what I cannot connect is these two categorizations, how they fit together. That is my big problem.
Okay, cool. Let's talk about that. And actually, just when you started your first word, I saw Cecilia and Stephanie. They wanted to say something too, right? They unmuted themselves, actually. Did you guys wanted to say something?
Yeah, because I thought you were asking about the three
Yes.
turning of the wheel of Dharma. So but I think the other gentleman has already talked about this, so it's okay.
The gentleman, yes.
This opportunity to ask about, you talk about the three master.
Okay.
You talk about this Longchen is under Nyingma, and then Lama Tsongkhapa is from Gelug. But the third master, I always cannot catch.
Sakya Pandita.
Sakya Pandita. Sorry.
Yeah, his name suggests the lineage.
And what has it, because when Rinpoche was talking about Budo Longsung,
yeah,
just I don't understand, is that all of a sudden he mentioned about this, and I cannot link exactly what is it about, because he mentioned sun, moon, star, but how?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what is the linkage here, is it? So just like to inquire.
Okay, I think Rinpoche wanted just to highlight the importance and greatness of Longchenpa, and that and Rinpoche was doing that by giving some kind of famous teams or groupings, that are mentioned in Tibetan Buddhism, like the three Manjushris, from Himalaya, and then yes, Longchenpa is one of them. And then we have the three that are like sun, moon, and star. And yes, Longchenpa is one of them, so he just wanted to show, that Longchenpa is sort of everywhere, it's like he's omnipresent because he's all good,
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you.
Marlene. And
Yeah,
Birger, I didn't forget your thing.
I would like to add, I haven't understood really the second group.
Okay.
Putong Longsom, you just said that this includes 3 persons, once more Longchen Shedra, and then whom else?
Here, yeah, I put it in the chat, Bhutan Rinchen Drup.
Right.
Do you see it in the chat?
Bhutan, yeah.
Yeah, so he is like 13th, 14th century, and yeah, he was the compiler, let's say, of the Kanjya, that all the Tibetan Buddhist teachings, of the Buddhist teachings of Buddha, and then Dolpopa, you know.
And you said he was the founder of Shantong. What is Shantong?
Dolpopa, yeah, that's what I meant. You know, Dolpopa is founder of Shantong, and Shantong means, like, in a very simplified way, believing or trusting that Buddha nature is full of all the Buddha qualities already now.
Okay.
And you don't have to generate them, but you just have to reveal them. That is sort of the Shantong view. It's like the great Madhyamika view.
There's a good biography of Dolpopa. It's just, I see a good biography.
Yeah, there's a great biography of Dolpopa. I think it's called Buddha of Dolpo or something like that. The Buddha from Dolpo.
Yes.
I send you the link. Yeah, and he's really like there are others who have the same view, you know, that we have the Buddha qualities in ourselves, but he's really like the strongest one, you know, in this. And it's great. It's really interesting how he's writing.
Sorry, are you listen if I read the first Shabdrung Rinpoche, Shabdrung Nangwang Nangyal, one of the top reincarnation of Kungchen Pema Karpo, the fourth Gyalwang Drupa, and from always the same person, the first Shabdrung Rinpoche, the person that unified the Bhutan, the country, became also Chogyal Nakai Norpo Rinpoche.
I don't see the connection to these masters that I mentioned here. Can you say it again?
Because you say that one of the 3 with moon and sun and stairs that mentioned by Rinpoche this morning was the first Shabdrung Rinpoche, Shabdrung Nyangwang Nangyal.
No. We just talked about it. It's Bhutan Rinchen Drup, Dolpopa, and Longchen Shedra.
Sì, the first, the Shabdrung Rinpoche.
No, not Shabdrung Rinpoche. Bhutan Rinchen Drup. I put it in the chat. Can you see the chat, Marlene?
I haven't the test yet because it's impossible to buy alone, and I have other 2 books of these 5, and so I asked if it would be possible. Otherwise, I have to buy again all the 5. I'm very sorry about it.
I'm a little bit lost. I don't understand.
Say also that these 3 persons have the sign of star, moon, and sun together. That means more than sun and moon together in the in the place on the front of the 3rd height.
I'm really lost. I don't know. I really don't understand the connection. Does it have with what point is it connected? What we are talking here about?
This morning, Rinpoche, you say now that the first of the 3 people that mentioned after the first other 3, and the first one is the person that unify the Bhutan. And I read you the name exactly and the reincarnation from whom. And I say that one of the reincarnation of him, the mind reincarnation, was Chogyal Nankenolpu. Just this.
Okay, good. Then I got it. Thank you. Good. Are we good with the names? I hope so. And then let's go to the three Dharma wheels, right? You know why they're called wheels is also because it's something like turning, you know, like you transfer it to somebody, you know, like when Buddha Shakyamuni was teaching in the beginning and the students were so good recipients and so open, you know, then the moment Buddha taught, you know, that realization was happening already, you know, in the student. So that was like the transferring of a wheel, you know, of insight or wisdom. So we have this, so that's called Dharma Chakra in Sanskrit. And so we have these three, and Birger already mentioned them. And of course, the general idea is again, Buddha was teaching different levels or different ways to reach different people. And therefore, he was teaching the first turning of the wheel. There it was more, sometimes it was sounding as if things are existent, you know, because he talked about the Four Noble Truths. That was the first main thing. And then in that context, also a lot about, and I'm trying to answer Birger's thing already, a lot about abandoning negative actions and doing positive actions, because that can help us to overcome the origin of suffering, the second noble truth. So therefore, like the Vinaya Pitaka, which is on that, you know, the discipline and doing good things and avoiding bad things, basically, that is a big part of that first Dharma chakra. And so that is good. And of course, it's a complete path. You can attain complete liberation with that. I'm sure you know the Four Noble Truths, or better, they are better called the Four Truths of the Noble Ones. But then he was talking so much about discipline, you know, or about the mind, as if the actions are really existent, you know, or if the mind is really existent. And then to counteract that, the second Dharma Chakra was taught, where he is refuting any true existence, like we know in the Heart Sutra, and he's introducing emptiness, or our word today was no characteristics, right? So that we are not clinging to anything truly existent, you know, after having heard the first teachings of Buddha in the first Dharma Chakra. So we are, for example, the mind, you know, like in the first Dharma Chakra, we might have the idea the mind is truly existent, because mind training, you know, the mind has to do virtuous things, the mind has to be free of negativities, and so on. The mind has to be liberated. And then in the second turning, Buddha is saying, no, nothing has true existence. Even the mind is empty by nature. Okay, so then we overcome the clinging to true existence. And then in the third Dharma Chakra, then Buddha is saying, or Buddha is trying to or is efficiently overcoming the clinging to the mind being only empty, you know, like being like nothingness. And so therefore he is, in the third Dharma Chakra, is introducing that the mind is luminosity, you know, that the mind is clear light, you know, by nature. So that is how it is explained in the Paccanaparamita Sutras, you know, these three turnings of the wheel of Dharma, you know, first mind, and then second is the mind is empty, or the mind is devoid of mind. And then the third is the nature of mind is clear light. So from that perspective, it's not only for different people, but it's also like a progressive teaching to overcome different things. And definitely and the second Dharma Chakra, Birger was already mentioning, Longchenpa is relating that to the Pitaka of sutras, right? Where there are, and sutra doesn't mean only like sutra teachings, but that also includes meditation a lot, and also many discussions between Buddha and the Bodhisattvas. I'm not so sure why that is. I could only guess why that is related to the second turning, but the third one makes sense because today the final decision was like the third is on the teaching of great clarity, and Longchenpa is also talking about different things. If I find it, that are understood. So that is more referring to Abhidharma Pitaka or Abhidharma basket, because in the Abhidharma basket you have all the vast kinds of knowledges about skandhas and all of that, and but also the vast understanding of the qualities of Buddha nature. So yeah, but to the second, I'm not so sure how one would explain it. Why it is sutra. I don't know. Maybe because this meditation is the way to understand emptiness, but I'm only guessing here. Yes, Marlene.
I would like to know who said this mind doesn't exist. The nature of mind is luminosity. Who said that? Was it also Buddha, or was it some later?
I know that Dilgo Khyentse Rinpoche used that quote quite often, but like the previous one, but it's from the Prajna Paramita Sutras.
Oh, yeah.
And there, I think in the with 8,000 lines, there are like different versions, and there it says, mind is devoid of mind, and mind or the nature of mind is luminosity. Yeah. And Dilgo Khyentse Rinpoche is really putting it to the three Dharma chakras. And yeah, if you look in the Longchenpa's writing here, it's very clear, that each of the Dharma chakra, there are these 5 excellences, right? So you could even make a chart, like with 15 cells, like 3 Dharma chakras on, I don't know, horizontal, and then the 5 excellences on the vertical axis. So then you could learn all 2 topics together. I mean, the excellent teacher is always the same. It's Buddha Shakyamuni, and then the place, of course, we can find, and the time. Longchenpa mentions the age of Buddha, and then the entourage is also mentioned by Longchenpa, so that is clear. But the main point is the teaching. So that's why also Turku was happy enough, if we say like the first Dharma chakra is on the Four Noble Truths, and the second on non-characteristics, and the third on great clarity. And the place is of course also mentioned. So if you like, you can do like a chart, to have all of that together, the 3 Dharma chakras and the 5 excellences. Cecilia, do you want to say something?
Can I check? I'm not sure. Maybe I got it wrong, but I just want to clarify. For the 3 waves of Dharma, right? The 3 turning. for Theravada, is it just existent only for the first wheel, or is the first and second wheel?
The last part I didn't understand. Is it only existent for?
I thought I heard Rinpoche say something like Theravada has this only and referring to the first wheel, but I'm not sure, is it first wheel or second wheel?
Yeah. Now I understand. Yeah. Wait, I wrote that down also. That was interesting. Yeah, I understood him that the first. So when he was asked, then he said the Vaibhashika view, which is part of Theravada, that is on the first wheel, the Four Noble Truths. But then second and third wheel we have in Mahayana, and then the last thing I heard is when he's talked about China, you know, and then that the Mahayana Buddhism there has all the three wheels. Yeah, but the first, I understood also that he said the first wheel as being related to Vaibhashika view. And because the second turning of the wheel, you know, the Prajnaparamita, basically, you know, the emptiness, lack of true existence, that is really like where the Mahayana comes in, and then the Theravada people, they even say, oh, you Mahayana people, or Madhyamika or Prajnaparamita, you are true nihilistic, you know, so you are extreme. So therefore they are like distancing themselves even from that. Somebody wanted to say something? Was it Maria?
He told that about the Mahayana and China. He told that China and other country like Malaysia, and I don't remember which others are pure Mahayana.
Yes, yeah. Oh, I'm also not sure if everybody knows the Chinese names, like Bodhidharma. I think that's easy, but maybe our friends from Malaysia could help us with how you write Xuanzang, Tangzhen.
Yeah, he's talking about Tangzhen and Xianzhang.
Actually, in English, there is English name is called Tripitaka. The English name Tripitaka.
Could you write it in the chat how you would write it? Write Chinese like in Latin letters? And if you want to know about Bodhidharma, there's a nice entry in Wikipedia. I read that. It's nice. Here, Tripata, Xuanzang. Yeah. And Tangzhen.
Tangzhen.
Xuanzang and Tangzhen, they are the same.
Yeah, Tangzhen means like a sangha in Chinese.
A sangha?
No, the Tangzhen, yeah. Right? The Shen is a sangha. Tangzhen. In fact, they're just a short name for him, Tangzhen.
Okay. Good to have experts here. Okay, anything about the three turnings?
Yeah, hello, excuse me. I would like to ask about the third teaching wheels of the great clarity. Can you explain about this great clarity?
Usually it is just put like okay. Usually it's just put like a Buddha nature, you know, that we all have the Buddha nature, and that the Buddha nature has the quality and luminosity which means that the mind is not just empty, but there is always constant awareness. You know, this luminosity is there. That is the emphasis usually in the third Dharma chakra. And here we have also, here Abhidharma is mentioned a lot. Huh?
Ist dieses dritte Teil des Rades die Grundlage vom Zentrum.
Yes. And there are also big, yeah, you didn't hear that. So that is sort of the foundation for Shentong, Wolfgang said in German. And there's, of course, I think maybe I mentioned it, but there's debate, you know, when we talk about provisional teachings or definite teachings, you know, we talk a little bit on that. Then from Madhyamika point of view, or no, let's say from Nyingma point of view, since Dolpo Tulku is Nyingma, it is very clear that the second turning of the wheel, like emptiness, absence of characteristics, is definite meaning, and also the third Dharma chakra is definite meaning. But then there are others who are not so Shentong orientated, as I mentioned earlier. They think that the third turning is provisional meaning. So they say it's not really like that. It's just like a skillful means to talk about it like this. But from Nyingma, definitely the last two are accepted as definite teachings. And there are also like different sutras related to each Dharma chakra. You know, the first one is like the sutra of the wheel of Dharma. That is understandable. And the second Dharma chakra has a lot Prajnaparamita sutras. But then maybe you also have heard about Lotus Sutra. Wolfgang mentioned that yesterday as an example, and Vimalakirti Sutra. And then the third turning of the wheel of Dharma, then of course Tathagata Garbha Sutra, so it's on Buddha nature. Maybe you have heard Lankavatara Sutra, that was also mentioned, you know, the journey to Lanka. Avatamsaka Sutra you've heard, or Mahaparinirvana Sutra. So they're like, the sutras are sort of classified or categorized like that. This is all just, one should, it's of course, it is, divisions are maybe not good, you know, but it's just helpful to know where to find what, you know, so it's easier to, if you then want to learn more about Buddha nature teachings, then we know which sutras to look into, you know, basically. Marlene.
Yeah, on page 15, the ordinary Mahayana interpretation, beginning there, it is said that he did the Four Truths at the age between 36 and 42. Mm-hmm. And then later on, the second wheel he turned at the age between 43 and 72. And then the last wheel from then on up to his end, up to Paranirvana. And now I was asking myself if that is somehow historically based, or is it just a picture to a kind of skillful means he uses to introduce his disciples, and then he develops them, and then the more developed the disciples are, the deeper he goes, or the more clear he becomes. So this was
the more clear. Yeah, I think I'm not just laughing about the more clear, because I guess Buddha was always clear, but the disciples couldn't get it maybe in the beginning. Yeah, actually, I've also found it interesting. I've never heard this dating thing, you know, like in that age he was teaching this, and in that age that, and I can't really. It wouldn't make sense, you know, if he would only like over these 30 years or 10 years only teach this one, because not all disciples are on the same level, you know. So
exactly.
he has to teach everything else. And but it's of course the case also if you look one particular sutra, let's say Tathagata Sutra as the representative for the third turning. Of course, it's not. It also has parts in it that are not so hardcore on Buddha nature, you know, but also give teachings on for other levels. But yeah, I mean, like just if we observe, I think any Rinpoche that we know of, you know, in our lives, I think it's not that any Rinpoche is like has only taught 10 years on one level sort of, and then next 10 years only on another level, and then the other 10 years only on another level, without ever coming back to the roots, you know.
So, but what is the sense of dividing his teachings in these phases? I mean,
I've not seen that anywhere else actually. It really sounds like biographical. Wolfgang, do you want to say something to that? Or?
In our text, in the next chapter, Longchen revises his strict you get it?
Yeah, so you are saying basically it's coming, right? In the next part that Turko didn't teach yet on. I'm just browsing through it.
It seemed that the Buddha taught in 3 successive cycles. Auf Seite 16 unten.
Yes, but as I said, I can't believe that he is not teaching. I mean, it's also the case, like that's also obvious in all the teachers, that whatever they teach, everything else is always included in the teachings. So even if the public talk is on impermanence, there all the other important topics will always be covered, you know. So therefore, what I meant earlier, for example, with the Tathagata Sutra, it's not only on Buddha nature, of course. So maybe we can understand it like the emphasis, you know, is then given, you know, over these 10 years, the emphasis is on Buddha nature. But of course, the other teachings are always implicitly or explicitly on the side, maybe taught also. Birger.
It is explained following up on the sentence on page 16 on the bottom, in the middle of page 17, where it says, some masters hold exclusively that the 3 cycles were taught all at once, while others maintain that they were taught in stages. Both points of view amount to nothing more than ignorance of the significance underlying this distinction between ordinary and extraordinary interpretations. So I think that will actually supports what Wolfgang said. It will be explained tomorrow.
Yeah.
This point is refuted, exactly as you also said.
But it doesn't hurt to already, what is it, activate our brain in that to that direction, because it's interesting, like what Marlene was, she was triggering that basically. It's an interesting topic. Okay, yeah, but let's be sure that we get the proper answer tomorrow.
What is acumen? Sorry, just the word. Acumen.
Oh, this is like Fähigkeit, like capacity, you know.
Okay.
This is sometimes used, you know, like people with sharp acumen and then with middling and inferior acumen, you know, so it's capacity. Wait, we have until 4, right? Okay, then let's a little bit go into the 5 excellences again, because these are important, and Birger was putting them in the chat this morning, at least the European morning. And I mean, we talked already about it a little bit yesterday. The idea is really to have this pure perception, you know, because from Vajrayana point of view, there's one thing to renounce, and that is impure perception. You know, we always have something to renounce, you know, like in Mahayana, like Jana Mahayana, what we renounce is, I don't know, selfishness, you know, and we practice bodhicitta. And in Vajrayana, we renounce ordinary perception or impure perception. And therefore we train in these 5 excellences. They are not exclusively Vajrayana. And as I said yesterday, they're related to some Bhurakaya, also in the general Mahayana. But anyway, the 5 excellences, they are mentioned in, I think, in all the sutras. Like, you know, Ananda was asked to, or empowered by Buddha to always give the setting, you know, of a sutra. You know, in the Heart Sutra, maybe you remember. Thus, I have heard once the Blessed One was dwelling in Ratchagiri Mountains together with a great gathering of monks. So it's always explained. There are always the 5 certainties or 5 excellences are there. You know, who was dwelling? The Buddha. You know, once upon a time. And the gathering of Mahasattvas, in a great gathering of monks and so on. So in Buddha asked, you know, Ananda to always do that, to set the setting, you know, to create also the atmosphere, you know, or the curiosity in us for this teaching, you know, and then we can, yeah, visualize it a little bit better, you know. In the Heart Sutra, then it says, yeah, on the Valchapik mountain, you know, so the excellent place is there. And then, yeah, it makes, yeah, it becomes more vivid, maybe, or more alive. So that is a very standard thing, you know, that helps us to understand, yeah, who is teaching what to whom, when, and where, you know, these W questions. And I don't know why the English have how, but that is not part of the 5, because in German it all stays W. If anybody's interested. No, but the 5 perfections, is that clear? It really it helps to have this pure perception, and that is also a training in equanimity. You know, that we don't judge. You know, it's beyond this ordinary perception of good and bad. You know, it's a purity or excellence or perfection beyond ordinary good and bad.
Und du hast auch die höhere Authentizität.
Yes, it also it's like it's a sign of authenticity, something like that, right? And also one big thing. I think that is from Buddha, but I heard it a lot quoted that Tsongtse Khyentse Shökyi Lötre said it. So he's saying, and Dolpo Tulku was sometimes referring to it when he was teaching from Kathmandu. So basically they're saying is, if you see somebody as a friend, you get the influence of a friend. If you see somebody, let's say, as a great bodhisattva, you get the influence or blessing of a great bodhisattva. And if you see somebody as a Buddha, you get the blessing of a Buddha. So let's take me and Dolpo Tulku as an example. Yeah. So when Dolpo Tulku was here in Berlin a couple of years ago, you know, we were like bicycling around in the park. And so, yeah, I could see him as a buddy, you know, as a friend, you know. And then when we stopped for coffee, or no, hot chocolate, of course, then he's saying stuff to me, and I see him as a friend, as a buddy, as a peer, you know. Then that is my my perception of him, and then that's how much I get, you know, from him, you know. Yes, it's a good advice, it's a good idea, you know, of a friend, you know. But then if then let's say in the evening we then yeah, we don't bicycle, but we take a car and then we go to the teaching, and Rinpoche is sitting on the throne and teaching, then I see him more like a teacher, you know, and then more like a, let's say, a great bodhisattva. And then what he might even say the same thing as during coffee time or on the bicycle, but my perception is different, and therefore my receptivity and my openness, and therefore I get much more blessing, I get much more, you know, I put much more weight into his words, you know, and therefore he can help me much more because I see him as a great bodhisattva. And then my training is then hopefully to see him as really like being convinced that he is the Buddha, you know, that is then the excellence of or perfect teacher, you know, that I perceive him as a Buddha, and then that influence that he will have on me will be much bigger, you know, even bigger. So it's like the beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder a little bit, you know, the blessing lies in the eyes of the in the degree of devotion or openness, you know. It is really proportional, and it's really up to me, and I am benefited by that, you know. If I have the pure perception, if I practice these 5 excellences, I am benefited a lot, you know. The same now, you know, I see, I don't know, Antonio, and yeah, I know from January already that he always says good things, you know. So so therefore I think he is like a learned and good person, you know. But my problem is that's it, you know. I don't see him as a Buddha, but if I would see him as a Buddha, I would receive much more, you know. So and that is, and I'm not making up, that is the training, because also the excellent disciples. So no, one of the excellences is that we should see each other not like ordinary people. So sorry, that was a little bit long, but I think it's I just wanted to point out that it's really helpful, you know, for ourselves. And what I mentioned earlier, Turko was quoting sometimes like that when he was teaching from Kathmandu. He said, yeah, sometimes with his friends, you know, he can't really help them because they're not listening, you know, because they perceive him as a friend, and therefore that's it, you know. Yeah, it's one advice and you're one out of many, you know. It's I can also read something on Facebook. It's equal, it's equal value. So therefore, Turko can't really help them, he said. You know, but then to his students, he said, yes, there he can help better because the students perceive him purer, let's say. I forgot how he put it, but he was definitely talking about those things. Yeah.
Probably he's always in this way.
Yes.
It's in this way that it works. Everything, yeah. Also the mind.
Yes, yeah.
Also from which side arrive. It's in this way, and probably is also all together, a friend, a Buddha, everything. You have a perfect perception.
Yes. Marlene?
Yeah, I think it's really one of the basic rules of communication between human beings. If you drive a car in the street and there is somebody behaving like a pig, you think that, or you think, oh, you are such a sweet, and you smile, and the other one smiles back. So, and you can make this really an instrument of yeah.
That's funny. Recently, I was like driving with a car, you know, and I was really like, I was so annoyed by somebody, so I overtook him and I brake a little bit, so he had to slow down a little bit, you know, and I was angry, you know. I'm normally not that type, you know, but funnily, there was really, I don't know, there was this police actually, the radar or something, And so because now we are both slower, nobody of us get a fine or fee, you know. And so the guy behind me, he actually noticed it, and he was then thanking me for what I did, you know, with what's really not with a good intention, but I saved both of us with my anger. Anyway, that is a little bit behind the, but yes, that is actually not really what you said. Yours was better. Yes, we can. We know, but the thing is, this is a good word. Wait, I like that. I think it's called cognitive appeasal. Maybe I check it first. That is like from Western psychology. Basically, you can always perceive something. You can just perceive it different. Doesn't matter what is happening. You are totally free to perceive it differently. Cognitive appraisal. Yeah, it's really basically that, you know, whatever happens outside, we perceive it with our 5 senses, you know, and that information is coming to our mind. And then it's so up to us how we conceptualize it, you know, how we see it. And yes, as Marlene said, we could perceive the other person as a, yeah, actually the other guy was thinking could have thought I'm a pig, but then he thought I'm a savior, you know. So it is it's so opposite, but it's so possible based on the same object, like me in that example, you know. And I like that a lot. And so therefore, yes, we can perceive Turku or anybody as a ordinary person, or as a bodhisattva, or as a Buddha, or as an enemy, of course, also even worse, you know. Everything is possible because it has nothing to do with the person or with the object out there that we perceive. It's completely our own doing. But of course, we don't have total freedom because of our habits. That is the problem behind that. Yeah, Maria Teresa is writing to me, it works because of great nature of mind. Yeah, I noticed you are very much from the Namkha Norbu side with your terms. Me as a Nagarjuna follower would say, yes, it's because of emptiness. Everything is possible. That's how Nagarjuna would say.
My first teaching is from His Holiness 14 Dalai Lama in Amaravati. Okay. And so I follow all Nagarjuna at first.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying I didn't mean you disrespect Nagarjuna. You're just using another terminology, that's all. Yeah, so that is the point. Because it's empty, like because I'm not a pig and I'm not a savior, that's why he can project both on me, you know. and the purer he projects on me, the better for him. That is the idea of the 5 excellences.
And sorry, one more question. Is that the basis, the pure perception? Is that the basis for Tantra?
Yeah, it is very much important because then, they talk on top of emptiness, they talk on pure appearances that, yeah, and that is totally only possible. I mean, that is basically the same as pure perception, yeah. Because in Tibetan, it's Nangwa. Nangwa means appearance and means perception. It's the same, no? So yeah, Maria Teresa is happy that I'm going into her terminology. No, but that is so interesting that perception is the same as appearance. And that is, it's like that. If I perceive Turku as a friend, I perceive him as this buddy who is bicycling with me, you know? Yes. But if I perceive him as a great bodhisattva, then he appears to me in my world, he appears differently.
In second teaching is the appearance like appear to the mind. Serkong Rinpoche, that is like the one of the best follower of His Holiness Dalai Lama.
Yes. So yeah, but and Marlene, yeah, that is really going into the Tantra direction, and yeah, and having that, what Tulku asked us always in the beginning, have bodhicitta, that is the general Mahayana view, motivation or attitude, and then having these, I think it's really called vast skillful means. So it's vast and skillful. The vast skillful means of Vajrayana. Then we develop the attitude of, or the perception of these 5 excellences. Yeah, before a teaching, before everything, or not even before, but during and after. I mean, always as uninterrupted as possible, of course. But our impure perceptions will interrupt it again and again, and then I will see some other driver as a pick. Yes. Anything else? Paula?
I might have a question, which is a manifestation of my fully dualistic mind. How to relate this, what you just said, with the relation to the teacher? Because then, and it's something also that, according to Uttara Tantra Shastra, we are all, there's like, you know, this Buddha nature all the way, and they are just a manifestation of the Buddha nature, and it would depend on our karmic perception, how we see the teachers, and the benefit that we receive from them. But on a relative level, we also have to, like, you know, have a certain teacher, don't we?
Yes.
So how does it work in that way?
I don't know, like, it reminds me of what Somsa Khensa Rinpoche once said. He said, like, yeah, he's always using like Buddha nature is leaking out, you know, that's how he sometimes used it. So and then if it's leaking out, then you see your teacher as pure and as a great teacher. That is of course a reflection of your own Buddha nature, but this conviction or this devotion that this guy is, this person or teacher is great, you don't have that to others so much, no? But at least that is the great start, you know, to have that conviction, that have this convinced pure perception of somebody. You have that at least to your teacher. But then through the practice, we are like, and through his or her instructions, yeah, we then expand that pure perception to others also. And then, of course, if you do it like seamlessly, uninterruptedly, then yeah, everything and everyone becomes a teacher. Of course, if you see everybody as Buddhas or deities, yes, you can learn from everyone and everything all the time. Yeah. Say something, please. Too. Does it still make sense, or?
Yes, it makes sense, but
yeah, I was sensing it, but
I think I might need to think about it more. But thank you so much.
Even, you know, in the training, you could. I can also still see like a driver who's behaving badly. You know, I can still see as a teacher, but as a teacher who's giving a negative example how not to behave. You know, if you open up to that possibility, you know, that teachers can behave constructively or positively, or give a bad, deconstructive or whatever destructive example, then you can learn from everything already now.
That side is clear. That I can see, and actually you can get a learning from every single situation around you, just if you cultivate that awareness and that the proper mentality and stuff like that. The problem gets on the other side, on how choosing one or a certain teacher and stuff like that. How is him or her going to be the one? Like how to choose that, and
yeah, that I tried to answer in the beginning when I said there you have a convinced pure perception. No?
Isn't that something that you develop also, that you cultivate?
Of course, yeah. I mean, in some cases like Milarepa, you know, it's like love at first hearing of the name of Marpa already. But yeah, you know, the three types of trust, you know, or faith, you know, it becomes more unshakable, starting from just mere inspiration or interest, and then it becomes really like convinced. So yes, we need time, like Sakya Pandita said, you know, 12 years to check each other out. And yes, but then yeah, you are convinced about you are convinced about somebody that he or she is pure or a great teacher, and effortlessly then sort of, you know. And like with others, you have to practice and cultivate more deliberately the pure perception, and you don't have that gut feeling of being convinced, you know, that he or she is great. And that is okay at our level. But then, as I said, then thanks to his or her training, I mean that he or she is training us, then yeah, we will be able, hopefully at some point, to see more and others and everybody like that. And then everybody's a teacher, and it's not about having one only, by the way.
But you love one dearly.
Yes, but Jamin Khyentse Wangpo had 153, you know, dearly. I know, but I'm just saying it can be this or that, you know, none is better. You know, for some it's too maybe confusing to have many teachers, and for them one is good, but others, for them it's maybe better to have 6, you know.
Also, teacher has a lot of master. It depends on, and not always in the life you are the same. Probably yes. You change every moment, every second. So your pure perfection, pure perception change. Your capacity to learn from others change. Your point of view and your heart open change. And so it's, but it's in my mind, I touch from her question because the point of view, like a Buddha, of your teacher is the first step in Buddhist and in every tradition, because it is the door. Is like a way to pass, is like the possibility to be one with everything, is to be bodhisattva in the real sense, is a fundamental step, yes. Is a sense of teaching.
Okay, guys, we have like Turku is always a little bit early actually, but and I took all your time now. It's 4. If it's okay, let's just conclude. And yeah, thank you again for for everything. By this merit, may all attain omniscience. May defeat the enemy wrongdoing from the stormy waves of birth, sickness, old age, and death. From the ocean of samsara, may all beings set free. O precious and sublime bodhisattva, may it arise where it has not yet arisen. Where it has arisen, may it never decline, but increase further and further. And long life prayer is also a training, you know, to see the teacher purer. Om Swasti, by the power of primordial wisdom, the 3 jewels and the 3 roots. May the life of the venerable reincarnation of Organ Chöying be long and steadfast. May he realize the excellent teachings and diamond in wisdom. And may his beneficial activities of the Dharma for all sentient beings perfectly ripen. Thank you so much. Antonio, your question, I think, is maybe ask that tomorrow to Turku. Would be interesting.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.